But anyway, what I was saying was we're going to compare these two things, these two products. One that you wanted just to see a little bit more, and the other that you were jumping out the window to avoid seeing ever again, kind of that kind of thing. But nevertheless, that's what we're going to do here today on the program, right?
Listen, if you're willing to jump out the window, just sign with AEW. They'll give you something to jump off or jump through, if that's really what you want to do.
I don't know if I trust those catchers, though, because they look a little emaciated.
Well, at least they have enough time to get situated. They're there for a while. They get their feet planted and they're ready.
What does it look like to the people not watching the television feed, but just in the arena, when suddenly they see a group of like a dozen guys in black shirts clumped up together, just running from one place to another, and then soon after someone falls on them?
See, my favorite thing is because they have time and they're standing there, they have to do something. So a lot of them, the move is just pick up your arms and just move them around while you're mouthing like, no, no, hey, oh, stop, no, oh, just move your arms like back and forth.
You know what? If one of the enterprising video editors out there in the cult could send us a compil or put it out on Twitter or whatever of all of the security waving and to the wave your arms in the air, party like you just don't care. They don't care.
And then someone crashes down, misses all their arms, and lands right on someone's head. He landed on his head, and then he kicks someone else. Everyone goes down, and
I wish that they ought to be bowlers, pro bowlers, the divers, because they can knock those pins down.
And if anyone's interested in trying this out, just join a wrestling school. You'll get called up to the main roster to be a security guard before you know it. Barely have to be there.
How many retrospectives are we going to have in 20 years of here was my first day in wrestling and it was a fucking miscellaneous catching guy?
Really, when you think about it, how many people who were stars for either company have we seen footage of them like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where they were just a security guard? Like escorting someone. There's a clip of MJF. Like when he first started, Samoa Joe pushes him as a security guard.
Yes, I remember seeing that. And obviously you don't notice at the time because they're not people that you would notice in that role. Maybe that's why now all the people backstage, like the building employees and random fans and security guards that get beat up, they all try to launch themselves into the wall like they've been flung by an elephant's trunk and take some preposterous bump because that's the path to stardom. To be fair, I think Rosie O'Donnell did it for MJF. That was what catapulted him into the public eye.
But you bring up the guy jumping into the thing. We've seen that a lot. We've seen that with professionals where they're thrown into like a wall and they just jump 5 feet in front of it right into it. But we saw it the other day with the Hurt Syndicate. And again, I'm going to guess those were wrestling students or indie wrestlers who haven't done anything. If you weren't...
Wasn't it Lashley barely touched him and the guy fucking flew 10 feet into the wall before Bobby had a chance to throw him anywhere?
Well, plus he got called for traveling. The guy was running, too. The guy ran and jumped into the wall. But my point was, if you are a young wrestler, an indie wrestler, a wrestling student, and you get called to do something there, what do you do? Like, you don't want to be just... Do you want to just be in the background? Is it doing your job just to kind of not be noticed at all? Or do you want to do something to...
Well, no, it's hard to not notice somebody if they're getting powerbombed through a fucking table, right? No, if you're there as fodder for a star to lay waste to you in some kind of fashion, then you need to take that bump well to the feeling that the people need to get that have watched that is, holy shit, look how hard Lashley powerbombed that guy. Not, oh, look at that guy. He was waving his arms in the air, or he had the wacky waving arm inflatable tube man, or he did something to comedically to call attention to himself. He took the bump well and hopefully safely, and the attention's on Lashley. So that's a major part to play, but you can detract from the situation if you do the comedy bullshit or go too far with it or try to reenact your favorite bump from the indies or whatever. It's just if they want you to get power bomb through the table, then give power bomb through the fucking table and sell it like, you just got power bomb through a fucking table.
But if you could do like an extra jump and bounce and flip yourself over the rope on a good day, should you try it there?
It didn't new because then here one of two things. Then you've just taken the attention. It's great to take a good bump for the fucking Cody cutter or the whatever the fucking finish is these days. It's great to take a good bump for it, but when you bounce up and you do the Shawn Michaels over the top rope with a chair around your neck and on the way down, you fucking hopscotch 3 times on 1 foot, then you've taken the attention and you're a nobody. You've taken the attention away from the bump. It didn't make the bump look good. It's trying to make you look good. And then you've distracted or detracted or whatever the fucking phrase I used a minute ago was. So just take a big bump for the fucking stunner or whatever.
Hey, when you look back on that Shawn Michaels Hulk Hogan match and feud, because that's what you're referring to. I mean, that's the best example of him just going over the top to sell Hogan's stuff in such a ridiculous manner.
Yeah.
That it's impressive that he's doing it, but it helped nobody. And he did a Larry King segment dressed as Hogan, pretending to be Hogan. Really made fun of him. When you look back now, was Michaels the babyface all along?
Well, I didn't say everybody was in universal disagreement, with the thought behind the actions, but no, because it was just again more childishness on television involving backstage stuff that now is usually restricted to the AEW crowd because the childish minds have gravitated in that direction. But no, it was unprofessional because of the import of the show and the overall meaning behind what Michaels was doing was just to shit on Hogan, amuse himself, and he was so good he could almost get by with it. But that doesn't take away the fucking overall intent, right? If this was a courtroom, would there still be some intent that we could convict him of?
And remember, I believe the story was Michaels who, again, the Bret Hart thing was in the air. I mean, there's always a trust issue with some guys in Shawn Michaels. And you could say the same thing about Hogan. There's always trust issues with Hogan. Michaels, I want to say the suggestion was he would somehow win the first. And then something would happen in the second. Either one of them will win, and Hogan will win in the end. And Hogan returned with, I'll win the first, the second, and the third.
Yeah.
And then they had, the one match where Shawn Michaels made Hogan look like a fool.
But see, again, they knew they were going to have 2 out of 3 or 3 or 2 or whatever. They knew they were going to have the one match, and the shoe was on the other foot this time. I'm not going to do a job for that guy. It was on the other fucking guy's foot that was about to drop the fucking leg. And so, Michaels reacted differently when the shoe or the boot was on the other ass.